Everyone, thanks for joining in. Just giving everyone a second to get connected in. We're excited to have you guys here. What we're doing today is we are doing Heartbeat's May Town Hall. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about all of the cool stuff that we worked on last month, everything that we've got coming in for this month. So just give it a second. I want to make sure that everybody that's like in the waiting room has a chance to get in. If you guys don't mind, just drop into the Zoom chat, just like John David did, where in the world you're joining in from. It's always like fun just to see like where you guys are coming from. For anyone that's curious, I am joining you guys live from sunny Chicago. We've got a couple folks in Brooklyn. We've got Siobhan coming out of Portugal representing the EU, and Mike coming out of New York as well too. Oh, sweet. We've got Grand Rapids, London, New York City, Atlanta. Oh, my favorite, Rick. Um, Samantha coming in from Columbus, Ohio, Detroit, Madison, Wisconsin. Okay, amazing. Y'all are all over. Serbia. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys, and especially for all the folks that are joining us from all the way across the world. Anita, you're coming in from Melbourne. I'm sure it must be very late there or very early. Regardless, I appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, thank you guys so much. We're so excited to have you. So now that we've got kind of everybody in the room, what I want to do is I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what we're going to focus on today. So during these town halls, the purpose is really to cast a vision for where Heartbeat's headed, show you guys what we actually have coming down the pipeline in terms of features and upgrades to the product and to just the Heartbeat experience overall. And the most important thing is we really want to use this time to carve out a space where we can listen to you, get feedback from you guys, and really work together to co-create what the future of Heartbeat looks like next. I've said this so many times, but we use these town calls not just to like show you what we've done, but to really get a ton of feedback so that we understand what we need to continue building, make sure that we're continuing to grow Heartbeat and build the product in the right direction. We have changed our entire roadmap based off of stuff that we've brought up in these calls. There's been people that have like jumped on town halls and like just from the Zoom chat suggested and pitched out features that have like pushed us to like really think deeply about what we're building next. So my only request to you guys is to just please be vocal. If there's anything that you want to see in the product, if there's things that you're missing, if there's stuff that's on your wish list, like please drop it in. Mehul is not an actual wizard, but he's as close as you're going to get to one. And him and Nick do so much work to build out incredible product for you guys, but it always does make it a little bit easier when the suggestions come from you guys. At least that way we know we're building the right thing. So just be as vocal as possible. We're going to use the chat quite a bit. So any thoughts that you have, feel free to drop it in the chat. We've got Siobhan who's going to be helping out just to make sure all of those questions get surfaced. And we're going to do our best to get to every single question that gets dropped in that chat today. We don't always hit it, but I would say like 80-90% of the time we do. And so as much as possible, we want to make sure that any requests, any stuff that's on your mind, we're able to at least address, talk through a little bit during this call today. So the way that this call is going to be broken down is we're going to spend the first about like 20-ish minutes talking about all of the cool stuff that rolled out through Heartbeat over the last month. Then we're going to spend the next 20 minutes talking about what's coming next, and then we'll leave that last 20 minutes open just for feedback from you guys. During that time, any questions, any ideas you want to pitch, anything that we need to be keeping our eye on that we're not, that's the perfect time to bring it up. And then as we're going through other stuff, like if you have questions, clarifying questions, things like that, just drop it in the chat, and we're going to make sure to surface all of those for you. Cool. I think that should be everything. So now let's go ahead and shift over. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is what we've done over the last month. And with that, we're actually going to kick it off with product. So Nick Mayhol, please take it away.
Sure thing. Thank you for the handoff. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get into what is likely going to be the most exciting and long-awaited thing we're going to talk about today, which is the new desktop redesign. So here it is. This is not the redesign. This is Notion. And we worked tirelessly over the last month to get y'all this new design for the desktop experience for all of your communities. And there was just so much feedback that went into this. We took feedback from Canny. We took feedback from the Hearth. Even throughout the design phase, iteratively making changes based on your feedback while we were doing the designs. And we're really happy with what we've come up with here, and even happier to see the warmth and love that we're getting from y'all that are testing it out early. It's been really cool. I want to shout out Nathan in case he's on the call. If he's not, maybe you're watching the recording. He's been sharing his new designs using the update, and it's been looking fantastic in the Hearth. So if you haven't seen it yet, go into the Hearth, check it out. But I'm going to jump into the Hearth to show y'all what this new design looks like and some of the new components that are available to you. Jumping into the Hearth here, I'm immediately brought to the feed. Wow, we brought the feed from mobile to desktop. That was one of our largest requests. Is y'all were seeing higher upticks in engagement in your mobile experience for your members and wanted that same engagement in desktop. So we brought the feed to desktop. It's available to you, and if you don't use the feed and already have it turned off, no worries. It will be turned off here as well. But we're very excited to bring it to all of y'all that use it. You'll notice that a lot is looking different here. So I'm going to start piece by piece. I'm going to start on the left sidebar. On the left side, you'll notice that there's a new way to showcase your brand to your community members using this community splash image. And no matter where I navigate throughout the community, that is always visible. What's so powerful about that, and I'm sure you've seen Mike's video newsletter already about it, is you have an opportunity to double down on some of your brand messaging, the value proposition that you're delivering to your members. Or if you have like a nested branding where you're calling your community something else, but you have like a larger brand that you want to promote, you can do that there too. I've also seen, just as an aside, some communities that have some sponsorships, including the sponsored image up there as well, just as like a little tidbit of advice for y'all that are trying to showcase your sponsors more effectively. So that is one of the main things that are new on the left sidebar. You'll also notice that there's no clunky double sidebar anymore. It's collapsed into one unified experience where you'll find everything from your feed, courses, resources, events, directory, and matchups, all of your custom sidebar links, and then of course all of your channels separated by category. Still visible to your members and giving them a simpler experience. Am I still screen sharing? Okay.
No,
No. I think my screen share
your
fell
your
out of
screen went
y'all.
down for me.
There we go. Resharing. We're back. Almost. There we go.
Flawless. We are
Well,
live, folks, in case you were
we're
wondering.
doing it live. Um, So one of the other things I wanted to point out for y'all is this the top navigation. In the top navigation now, we've been sure to include where you're at in your community in the top area there, because that was also a source of confusion, is somebody being in a channel and being like, what channel am I even in right now? And having to kind of look at the sidebar for that. So for example, if I navigate to Ask the Community, I see that in the top there easily. If I go to an event and click into an event, I can see where I'm at from events to the name of the event. And the same thing goes for things like courses and resources. Less exciting, but also really helpful for your members. In the top right, you'll notice a little mail icon. We've moved your DMs. Previously, DMs were kind of like shoved at the bottom of the navigation bar and kind of like hard to see. So we've moved those to their own page. Now you can easily see how many DM notifications you have at any moment. I have none right now. I'm all caught up. Inbox 0 for the win. But if I click here, I'm taken to my DM space, and I see all my threads on the left. It looks very similar to iMessage, as you might imagine. I can create new chats. I can type chats to my friends here very easily and have it all in one place. Going back to the feed here and looking at this right sidebar, we've collapsed your right sidebar, simplified that view so that your members can still be visible. You can still see at a glance how active your community is and who's currently navigating it, but without it becoming a eyesore for you. So you can still scroll up and down here. You can see who's active. We see that lots of y'all are online right now, probably on this call. And then in the bottom right, as it's always been, that help button if you ever need support from Siobhan or the team. One last thing about the sidebars before I jump into the meat and potatoes in the middle is our notification pane. We got a lot of feedback from y'all saying that you wanted a better way to interact with your notifications, because that is the main way that you know who's engaging and what to engage with in the community. So we've updated the right sidebar for the notifications to be the same as it is on mobile, where you can filter between notifications for you, specific mentions to you, and then activity. And then even from there, you can filter by unreads only. So now I have a view where I can see only the unread notifications, and I could easily mark those as read, or even go back to one that's unread and mark it as, or go back to one that's read and mark it as unread very easily. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for you to navigate and engage with your members. Seeing Dasha. I was a little scared to switch to the new design, but now I'm encouraged. Well, I'm glad we encourage you, Dasha. That's the goal. It is a little scary seeing new things, especially when there's such a drastic change, but I assure you that we took all the feedback that we could here. We've done an extensive testing period now over a week with some early testers, and we're really confident that it's in a good shape for y'all to migrate if you're ready. And in a couple days, it will be launched to everybody. All right, focusing on the middle here, I just want to call out a few more things. One, the thread composition modal is now inline. So it's no longer popping up this pop-up to create a thread. If I want to create a thread, I just type here and it all stays right there. And what's really nice about that is if I'm referring to a post and typing a thread, I can easily do that. I can scroll down all the way and then come back up and continue making my post. What's also nice is you are the barrier to writing a post now is much lower for your members as well. So it no longer feels so scary when you click that create thread thing and a pop-up comes up and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm making such a big decision right now. Now it's just in line. It feels like you're just creating a regular chat message, just as easy as it should feel in any channel on Heartbeat, like chat channels or threads. So that is another small quality of life thing that I think will up your engagement. And then last, on the right sidebar here, we've taken our community carousel and we've given it a huge uplift and upgrade. And now on this right sidebar, you'll see all of the beautiful things you remember from your community sidebar, from your community carousel. For one, we see that we have a live event happening right now in the Hearth. That's very obvious because we have our little blinking red live. We have the event title and a list of all the members that are currently in it. Now, if I wasn't in this event, personally, I'd feel the FOMO. I'd be like, dang, Heather's here, Anita's here, Tim's here. I better pull up. I better come over and join see what we're talking about in this town hall. Sorry, the New York accidentally slipped through for a second there. But very excited about that. This will also display for all your Zoom events and any other events that you're hosting in your community, no matter what the destination is for the event. It will pop up just like this. We also have, just like we had before, if I'm in the middle of a course, being encouraged to continue that course and take on the next lesson in there, being directed right there, having the trending post always visible for me to easily navigate to. And then, of course, if I have an upcoming event that I have an RSVP to, I could easily RSVP just like that, right? Making engagement frictionless. That's the goal here. And then as I scroll, I'd also like to call out that we've included all of those fun things in the feed that were on mobile on desktop as well. So if I am in the middle of a course or haven't started one, I'll see that here. For this example here, I have an event that's upcoming that I have an RSVP to. I could RSVP very easily. If I keep scrolling, I'm sure, oh, look at it's Mortaza. If I keep scrolling, I'm sure I'll see other things like this other event that's happening, and then things like courses, documents that are popular in the Hearth, as well as matchups. So previously it was a little bit more hidden to identify if you're opted into matchups or not as a member, but now it will be a constant reminder. If you keep scrolling, you'll see this option to opt in. All right, how am I doing? Any questions so far? I'm sure there's a lot in the chat here.
Yes, we do have questions. Do you guys want to cluster them? You want me to take a couple now real quick? What do you want to do?
Let's take a couple now. I think that's perfect.
All right. So let's see here. I'm going to come back up to the top. Michelle, let me grab Michelle's comment. Guys, you've been firing off chats here. There it is. Okay, show it on screen. Michelle says, loving the trending content that's on all pages. Is there a way for us to pin or boost a certain piece of content to appear like the trending content does on all pages?
Michelle, I really like where your head's at here. So the reason why we designed this right sidebar the way we did is we have big plans. We have big plans for it, and our hopes are to enable things just like you said, and give you some more customizability on that right sidebar. So we're starting with the community carousel as the first bet. And then next, which we've already actually implemented, are things like community channel cards. So if I'm on a specific channel, I can go ahead and edit that channel and turn on a channel banner. What that channel banner is going to do is it will pop up in the top right, and it will act as what many of you, I assume, are using your pinned posts currently for, where you have like this pretty image and then just like some explanation of what the channel's about, maybe rules for engaging in the channel, etc. If I go ahead and click submit here, Now we'll see I have that channel banner in the top right. So in theory, we're hoping that y'all are able to kind of ditch the pinned post that is kind of blocking the other really member focused, engaging content below it, and put it up in the top right where it's still visible, especially when it's most important, like somebody composing a post, but you're still able to get to the content a lot faster. So you could upload your image here if you want. You can make any edits. This is a nice rich text formatting area right here. So what I recommend to you as a workaround for now, Michelle, is you can use this channel card to kind of like paste links to popular posts. But I assure you that there are bigger plans here coming, and we're hoping to more directly support that use case soon.
Awesome. All right, let's see. We had a question here from Nicole regarding images. Love the new desktop. Only feedback is that images, when attached to a post, aren't showing correctly. Nicole, I don't know if you had any other context you could add to that, maybe to understand what you're seeing. And if you guys can check the chat, I don't want to lose my spot in the chat. So if you guys could watch the bottom of the chat, because I'm halfway up the chat, that'd be great.
We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to like get started on a response because we did make a change to the way your posts are displaying. So I feel like I might know what you're talking about here. You'll notice that your posts widths are wider now. We actually took away the indentation that we had previously in where your post content starts, and to allow for like an easier viewing experience. What we've also done is expanded images to full width of the post. Previously, it was more like based on the size of the image, it might show up really tiny, might show up a little medium sized. It was really hard to know what your image is going to look like. So now we're going to show your images full width to a certain height limit because we don't want extremely tall images to show up and kind of just like ruin the community experience. That being said, we're still collecting feedback on like the max height that we're choosing. So if that's something that's like kind of hurting the general viewing experience for a lot of the images posted in your community, please write into us. Like that is something that we're actively looking for feedback on.
Awesome.
Yeah, one thing that we've been noticing in testing that I'll like throw in here is like, and we're still kind of playing around with this, is like the common like vertical images that will cause issues is it's like phone vertical images that you take, because if you think about it, those are like pretty long and tall. And right now, one of the issues is like if you post that and it goes full width of a post, like you're basically going to be scrolling almost like 2-page lengths to be able to get to the next post. And so like we're trying to work around some of those like real life constraints of course people take pictures on their phones, of course they're doing it in portrait mode, but we want to make sure that there's a way that we can incorporate those in the post without taking away from the community experience.
All right, we got a question here from Eric. Is it possible to make the feed the default when someone opens up the community on desktop? Right now it goes to the introductions channel.
Eric, you're thinking my language. That will be the case once we get the full rollout of the new design out. There's just like some weird technical kink that prevents us from doing that for the early release folks. But once we do a full release in a couple days, that will be the case, that your feed can be the default.
All right, here's one. How we migrate to this?
Great question. So one day in the next couple days, it will be like sort of no actions on your end to do this. We'll just do it automatically. But if you want to do it early, as long as you have a custom domain enabled in your community, which is free on any plan, you will see a little pop up in the bottom left when you open up your community on that custom domain, and you'll be allowed to upgrade from there to the new experience. But if you don't have a custom domain, don't worry about scrambling to do that. This will be fully released in the next few days.
All right. I'm plugging right along here, trying to keep up. You guys are great with your questions. Florence asks, I know you widen the content pane, but there's a bit of dead space, or a lot of dead space in the pink of your screen. Can we fill the space with content to reduce scrolling? What were our thoughts on like the aspect ratios and the width of everything?
Yeah, so Florence, you make a really good point, right? I will say I'm on a very wide monitor right now, which is atypical. If I go ahead and shrink this to a MacBook size, that's about the size you can expect for like the most common user or member in your community. So this was truly designed for like the majority of your members. But when we expanded to like larger screens, we didn't want it to become like a chore to read a post, because if a post is like super wide, you're kind of turning your head to read the whole thing. So there had to be a maximum width that we set, and we set that width here. So rest assured, most of your community members are experiencing this view.
All right. Actually, so it looks like Florence, I don't know if we answered this question as well. You did have a piggyback question on here. As you scroll, once the right side cards are no longer visible, is there a way to have the content go full width? So you're saying when you scroll beneath the cards on the right, Nick. So this is what it would look like, guys, on the MacBook aspect ratio.
Yeah. So again, like this, another thing we're exploring is like, and we would love feedback on, do we pin those right cards, the right sidebar cards, woo, tongue twister, as you're scrolling and keep them there, or do we let the member scroll past them and focus on the content? Our initial thought is let them scroll past it and focus on the content so they can engage on what matters. But we'd love feedback from y'all on to see like what your members or what you prefer as an admin in your
Yeah,
community.
and pinning would be they'd be like sticky, like they would stay there,
Right. So they would
like the
kind of
same way
stay there.
your sidebar of who's logged in stays there with you.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right.
And one thing that I'm going to throw into real quick is like we do think a lot about like screen real estate and space. Like that's a huge consideration, especially as we're designing and building new product. And the balance that we have to strike here is we want to make sure that we are providing enough information and enough context on the page for a new member or a new user to come in and feel comfortable engaging, being a part of the community, and they have additional avenues so that they can get deeper into the community experience, right? Like that's the ideal goal. And what we want to stay away from is overutilization of the space so that it feels like every time you go onto Heartbeat, it's overwhelming. There's way too much content in your face and you're not really sure what to click. Because what happens is at a certain point, you cross too much information and you get to a point of decision paralysis for the average user. That's what we're always trying to stay away from. And so what I will say is like, I think when we think about screen, utilization, there's a lot of balance that we have to strike over here of what is too much. And generally we will err on the side of caution of like, we don't want to overwhelm users because that can immediately just kill the experience. We want to progressively increase the discovery of like new features, new piece of content, new items on the feed, so that as they get more and more into Heartbeat, that's when they start seeing more and more content and the diversity of options with which that they can engage in the community more starts to expand. But that's kind of the mentality is building in this progressive discovery so there's not like an initial overload.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's true in marketing too, guys. Like when you put too many CTAs in an email, nobody clicks any one of them. So same sort of theory here. Decision paralysis is a real thing. Eric is like super jelly and jonesing over how you created that content card when you created that pinned one.
Yeah, sorry, I did that a little quick, Eric. So if you go to any of your channels and click the three dots to edit it, you'll now see display a channel banner toggle. And if you toggle that on, if you already had a channel description, it'll automatically pop up right there. Candid answer is before this update, we weren't using your channel descriptions for anything. They were not showing up anywhere. So now we have a use for them, which is great. And you could also add the pretty banner image there. The banner image there is the same as it is for doc sections and course cards in your splash image. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So opt for a larger resolution size just in case people have larger monitors to avoid any blurriness when looking at it.
Alrighty. We got about 6 more questions in the queue here. From Dasha, an ongoing event is only visible to those who have access enabled. This new design will not change the functionality. What is private remains private, and all access remains as they are.
That's right, Dasha. We will do all the work. Heartbeat will do all the heavy lifting to make sure that we're only showing members content that's relevant to them that they have access to. So that includes both on the sidebar here. That includes in these sidebar cards here as well. They're only ever going to see what they have access to. So like even with like trending posts, like there might be a post that is popping off in one channel, but I might not have access to the channel. I don't see it.
So Anita asks about the feed. It would be good to be able to remove posts from the feed, but not necessarily where it's originally located, especially when you are setting up the community. I don't want these in the feed. Facebook does this, and it carries on. If you upload an image and can't remove, and you can remove it from the feed. Thoughts on that, Nick?
Love that. I think that's a great idea. Mike, if you could throw that into our requests section at the bottom of our page there.
I will certainly do that. Actually, I'm gonna have Siobhan, if you could grab that one. I'm gonna move on to the next one here because I want to keep this party rolling. We got a long comment from Florence. I'm gonna put it up on screen, but I'm gonna have to read it off screen because it's too long. But that's okay. Florence, can you make all posts collapsible by default for easier scrolling to see original posts without seeing everyone's comments underneath? Currently requires too much scrolling to get to the next original post. Her members are complaining that there's too much scrolling to see all original posts within when one post has a ton of comments or engagement beneath it.
Yeah. So Florence, you make a great point. you want like better control over the viewing experience in your channels. And like the only trouble on our end as Harpy is we need to figure out a way to make everybody happy. And like you might have one use case where you want to shorten the post and make them excerpt, but then others might have the use case of wanting to see the entire post. So what I'm taking your feedback as is like more control over what the viewing experience is in channels and giving you that option to make the decision rather than us making the decision for you. So totally hear you. I think we should add that to our request log at the bottom of our page, and we'll definitely take that into consideration here.
All right, and I think this one will also add into that queue from Tony. I'd love to see the image options hit some standard sizes, 1920 by 1080, 1080, 1080, etc.
Yes, big numbers, but I do hear you on that. I think what we'll have to do is take a look at what our current sizes are compared to those, and I'll have a better idea. I'm having trouble doing the internal math of like what the ratio is there.
Yeah, and I will say too is that like a lot of the way that we'll design the image like areas, right? Like basically the spots that you can drop in a picture, is based off of like what is the available screen real estate that we realistically have, and what is sort of like the maximum amount that we can give you, and what is like the realistic amount that we can give you that still allows you to showcase pieces of your brand and kind of drive people into the right direction that you want to. And so what ends up happening is like there's so many other pieces on the page that kind of like drive and change exactly where we can fit things in. That's why I will say like our image sizes are less standard than we would like. They're more of like, hey, this one's going to be a 2-to-1 ratio. This will be a 4-to-1 ratio. And then we'll give you the pixel sizes. And then you kind of like look at it and it's a little bit crazy. So I do think like we have to take a second and research like what do the standard image sizes look like across different socials, for the sole reason of like when you build a image for like Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok or whatever, we want you to be able to reuse some of that stuff too. Like you shouldn't have to resize every single image when you hit Heartbeat. So we'll definitely take a look. But I wanted to give a little bit of context of where it comes from in the design process. Of I promise it's not that we just don't care; it's that we end up with so many constraints that we kind of have to like let one thing slide. Yeah.
All right, we do just have a quick upvote from Dasha on a sticky sidebar for those tiles there. So as we explore all the big plans we've got that logged for you, Dasha. And
Awesome.
then I do have a question here from Nicole, and we're caught up finally. Nicole says, one thing my community asked today is they could have a carousel of posts like on Instagram. Is that something coming? As a business who has a lot of socials content already designed, it would be nice to be able to cross-post. So right in line with what Marissa just said about bringing things between your actions elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And Nicole, what I'll say there is like that's sort of like in the same vein of feedback around like truncating posts or showing the full thing. Like I would like to look further into like how we can give that option to you to make the decision, whether it's on the channel settings or even if you're making a post, having the option of like choosing how your images show up within your post. So I hear you, and I think we'll just add that to the request log at the bottom, and would love to have more context if you have more.
All right, and then we did have one more pop in, and I think that we're at bottom of the hour here, so we'll grab this one, and then we'll go to the other sections probably to fit everybody in. But Stripe offers an option to pause payment collection for members that need to pause memberships. However, members still have access to Heartbeat. Can you create an option to pause memberships that the admin can control without deleting that member's profile completely, which canceling them would do?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. We actually have considered adding this feature with the Payments 2.0 update, and there is a specific reason why we didn't. We have our own experience as well as like known experience from other software companies running subscription-based businesses that the subscription pausing is not the most effective way to retain a subscriber. And rather, you're better off providing them with a short-term discount as a replacement to that. And the reason being is they're still seeing a charge in their account every month with that discount. Whereas when you're pausing, you're giving them the brief moment of feeling where they don't have a charge from your community at all. So that's the reason why with cancellation flows, we did not introduce the option to have a pause subscription. Instead, we introduced the option to apply a discount. So that's more of like a decisive measure on our end in terms of like our known business building best practices. But I would love to hear like your specific use case here because maybe I'm missing the point.
Yeah, I think it was from like a numbers perspective. It was like less than 20% of people will end up resubscribing after the pause. And then even after they resubscribe, I think it's only like 5% of that like total allotment will continue to pay more than like 2 months. So there's a very, very high drop off rate versus when you offer in the discount, you can actually keep people on a subscription plan longer. You can continue to provide them value. And like Nick said, is like you're continuing to still test out that willingness to pay and making sure that like you're taking at least a little bit of money for the value that you're giving, because that still continues to build that muscle with the customer of, hey, there is something valuable here. You're getting a discount for a little bit and it'll change in a little while, but that relationship is still maintained.
All right. Just a couple of, before we pivot on here. So Eric's got a +1 on the channel banner. Being sticky would make it fun for sponsor placement. That's cool.
I love that.
And I also want to I got to put this number up on the screen. So Nicole says she has always got more content. We've got 150 to 300 posts a month. Tell me what you're doing, because that is a great number. Congrats to you on the activity level there, Nicole. Amazing. Okay. Gosh, we have so many questions, guys. I'd hate to cut it, but I want to make sure everybody gets a little bit of time on this. Anita did ask one, and let's call it, this is the last one here. So Anita says to Siobhan, she's launching a community at the end of the month, but need to do screen recording, so I'd like to edit a couple of channel names and then have it revert back to the new theme. So should she revert to the original desktop layout, edit, and then revert back to the new theme? Siobhan, do you have an ongoing conversation with Anita regarding that with more context?
I do. Yes, she has
Awesome.
she has a ticket with us, and I was actually just typing a reply to her that she can revert to the old theme right now and do those updates while we figure out what's going on with her missing 3 dots in the new one.
Wonderful. Okay, we got that covered. All right, we are caught up, guys. So we are all set. Quick, switch topics. Quick. I'm joking, guys. If you got questions, just keep them coming. We'll catch them later.
Awesome. Well, I'll breeze through my other 2 things here because I do want to make time for the rest of the team. But 2 other things that we launched and pushed last month. One is the improved mobile onboarding process for members. So there was a small change that we made, but we think it's going to make a large impact. We now remember who people are when they're in the middle of onboarding for your community. So anybody in those pending statuses onboarding your community, we've implemented a change that is better at remembering where they were in that process. So if they leave your link and then maybe come back to the sign up link, we immediately bring them to where they were last, rather than asking them to enter their email again. This should resolve a lot of confusion on the user side, and we're hoping increase your conversion rates as well. And then lastly, on the move, the last thing that we pushed last month is moving members between offers. You're now going to be able to take a member with an active subscription on one offer and move them to a different offer without interrupting their subscription. You don't have to cancel. You don't have to let them know. They won't even notice the difference. But for your admin use case, it will help you immensely in cleaning up your offers as you scale and experiment with things and make changes to your business. You could do this on the user level, but you could also do this on the bulk level. So let's say I wanted to move like 50 members with active subscriptions from one offer to another one. You can do that easily within your admin dashboard. And we'll have a very nice how-to article in our help center to help you out there, but it should be pretty straightforward the way we built it as well. Okay. If we don't have any other questions, I think we're good to go with growth, Mike.
Awesome. You know what? Why don't you keep the screen up? We'll just keep it going that way. Awesome. So stuff that we worked on in the growth space for the last month, we did a massive product market fit survey. Nick and I and Mehul and I teamed up on this. We selected some key cohorts of our customers, and we sent out surveys to understand how well what we build fits what you guys need. And we were asking some specific questions. Might have seemed a little odd to maybe if you hadn't seen them before, but we asked our admins, so when they were asked if you were unable to continue using Heartbeat, how would you feel? 72% of the surveyed admins said they would be very disappointed if they could no longer use Heartbeat. And that made us feel really good, and not just in like that you love us, but also in a nerdy way, because the average successful software company only gets 40% for that number, for that question. So you pick, Canva, you pick like any software out there that you might be familiar with, any email software. Usually only 40% of those customers would be disappointed if they could not use that software anymore, which means 60% of them really have a kind of a mixed bag of feelings about it. For us, the vast majority of you said that you would be very disappointed if somebody snapped their fingers and Heartbeat disappeared. So that lets us know there's a couple things. What we've built so far, for those of you who are here on the journey with us, it's a good fit, and we're really proud of that. It also unveiled for us like what the next steps are and what you guys need next and what will take you and us together to the next stage of growth. So our ICP, our ideal customer profile, you guys desire the ability to grow revenue, and you want to manifest a very specific vision that you have for your community space through our platform. That's been very clear to us. That was kind of a common theme across all respondents. And our promise that we make right on the front of our website is that we're the all-in-one community platform, and that's what we want to be. And it's clear to us, and we were looking at all these responses, and thank you for those of you who wrote like paragraphs back to us, super helpful, that our promise fails our users when they hit the limit of flexibility to create that vision that you want to create within Heartbeat. So when you have to start working outside of Heartbeat to create the full picture of what you want your community to look like and how you want it to work. This is going to give us a whole lot of insights on what we're going to do to dial in our roadmap, our product roadmap for the rest of this year. Nick, let's scroll down a little bit. So dialing this in, this is a word cloud based on the main benefits that the cohorts that we surveyed said they had about Heartbeat. Like, what was the main benefit, right? And you can just see some immediate themes jump out at you here, right? All one place is right there. Platform is also very large. Courses and hosting and content, everything. It's very clear that you guys want cohesive, clear, integrated approach to what you want, to your vision and bringing your business to the world. That's what we've done well, because 72% of you said it would be very sad if it went away. We're going to continue doubling down in this area and making sure that this experience is expanded to as many possible customers as we can. So yeah, Nick, let's carry on a little bit further down. In the growth side of things, I just got a couple of quick stats that we're really proud of also. The week of April 26th was our best ever. We had 192 new communities created in the 7-day period in the week of April 26th. We've never, like, Black Friday wasn't even that high. Like, we're doing some amazing things that are happening here. Also, over $11 million is how much revenue you guys have realized. So the admins out there who have your community on Heartbeat and running through Heartbeat payments, you add that all up, it's $11 million in money that you guys have made. I'm going to give you a slow clap. Like, you guys did so good. This is my North Star. Like, I want to see you guys do really well. You guys are collectively hockey sticking. I just want to celebrate you all. Like, we talk about this in startup all the time. Like, ooh, we love it when growth numbers go up and they curve really fast towards the vertical. You're doing it. As a whole, all of you together are doing it. So congrats to you, because that is a hard thing to achieve. So what are we going to do? Things that we worked on, just so you guys know, we launched a LinkedIn newsletter, right? So if you guys didn't know, on LinkedIn, you can have either a personally or a business page have a newsletter. Followers of that page are offered to subscribe to it, and you get an email update. We're bringing content to that platform because it's a business-focused platform. It's going to have some great YouTube embeds, some featured members, admins and their communities, as well as tips and tricks and other content in there. So if you're not following us on LinkedIn or subscribe to that newsletter, go search us up on LinkedIn, get subscribed to it. Great content's there. It's different than the newsletter I send out by email, just so you know. Actually, some cool stuff in there. Also, our YouTube grew to almost 500 subscribers. I shared this because it's like, hey, like, that's a small YouTube channel, like, in the scheme of YouTube, but like, we just started, and like, we're getting a growth traction. And like, so this is a relatable number for maybe some of you guys that are just starting your own YouTube channel. So posting regularly, listening to your audience, engaging with them. We're streaming this to YouTube right now. So if you're not subscribed over on YouTube, please do. You'll get notifications when we go live, and also a bunch of other content from our tutorials and workshops. And we did also have an initiative to book some outbound meetings. So instead of welcoming people in, like attracting people into a free trial, we did some outbound sales meetings flows where we're going out, we're asking people if they'd like to have a meeting with a member of our team. And I thought, in my mind, I think of them as people who are stuck on a competitor's platform because we need to rescue them from that platform. So we're going to reach out to these folks. We're going to have some meetings, discuss what Heartbeat could be for them, and maybe they can think about migrating over to us. And that's what we've been working on in the growth side for this past few weeks. Let's go over to support.
Okay, sorry, I was distracted for a moment because I was trying to get the YouTube link for Nicole, but I see
Oh, you're
Merchants got that
amazing.
in there.
Thank
I
you for
got it in,
doing
yeah.
that.
All right, so Merchants is showing support. Awesome. We are now resolving issues 5 times faster than we were a month ago, and that is thanks to our fantastic team that we have. It's myself, I'm fantastic, but also Sam and Mafalda, who are just doing a bang up job. We also moved to that new support platform that has enabled us to just have more functionality that we need on our side to get answers to you quickly. So Sam is now fully onboarded, and she has a lot of experience with coaches and content creators from some previous roles. So she really understands what you're trying to do with your communities and get engagement and all of that. Another great number that I would like to share is with this new AI bot that we have and the improved help center, which we are always working on to improve. Our average tickets created per month in 2024 was 920. That's almost 1,000. That's a lot. And now in 2025, we are down to under 700, 654 tickets per month. And we're having that 30% reduction while we're also onboarding tons of new communities. So that means that not only are we working harder, but we're working smarter because we've got a little bot helping us out. So, yeah, that's what we've got when we did last month.
Cool. And we've got a little love in the chat for the new bot. Nicole was saying, "Oh my God, the new AI bot is so much smarter." Which, yes, it is.
It is. Thanks for the kind words, Nicole.
Awesome. And then last space is moving into the community. Mike, do you want to talk about some of the events that we got coming up?
Sure, yes. Well, actually, this was events we've had. Some of these, so 4-9. On the 9th, we had Laura Zug speaking about Community 2.0 and creating your strategic framework. If you guys weren't able to attend that one, there were like 300 people RSVP to that one. So maybe everybody here already got to see it. But if you haven't, it's up on our YouTube channel. I'm going to plug that again. You can check it out there. Also, we do embed those in the Hearth. So if you're not in that space often enough, please join us there, and you can always watch the recordings. We're also snipping up short content and putting that in the vertical feed. On the 16th, we had Liz Wilcox, list building, a dozen ideas that don't involve ads. That was very real and raw and just very immediately actionable. There was more than a dozen. I think she over-delivered. I think there was closer to 20 ideas on that. So if you didn't watch that one, also YouTube, also the Hearth, also in the vertical video feed. And we just had a session yesterday with Patrick Nairn on building relationships that supercharge community growth, how networking virtually can make a difference in building relationships and accelerate your community outcomes. So that recording also going to be on YouTube, also in the Hearth. And Patrick, of course, runs his office hours for courses. We do have those as well every 2 weeks. And also, just as a reminder, guys, on interest groups, in the Hearth, we have interest groups. So this will specialize the events you're notified of. It'll specialize the channels that you can get into. So if you haven't joined these and you're interested in them, please do. We have a marketing special interest group run admin or moderated by Drew Donaldson. He does those sessions on Fridays, so you can be in the channel, but then on Fridays have 90 minutes of kind of live co-working marketing support. Patrick, like I said, he admins our courses special interest channel, and every other Tuesday he has an office hours for courses. That's best practices for education and implementing courses in Heartbeat. And of course, Misty admins our automations channel, and she offers us support once a month, and that's helpful for the native automations and also anything super custom that you might use Zapier or Make or anything like that outside of Heartbeat for. So if you haven't been in the Hearth lately, check it out. A lot of good stuff going on.
Awesome. And moving into the coming soon section, I am taking a look at the clock right now. We're a little bit over, so we're going to breeze through this. But Nick, if you want to start talking about all the stuff that we have coming out over the next couple months on the product side of things, let's dive in.
You're going to ask the culprit of why we're late to speak again. You've made a mistake. Uh, so yeah, really excited about what's coming down the pipeline this month. That product market fit survey that Mike talked about earlier was really helpful in like narrowing our focus a bit and helping validate or even invalidate some of the things that we were planning on working on. One of the things that we know for sure that we want to work on this month is mobile improvements, such as improving the video playback. Experience that y'all and your members have. That includes both native video on Android and on iOS devices, and just making the performance overall on the mobile app faster and better. There's actually a piece of feedback that we saw in the product market fit survey as well, from y'all that would be most disappointed to leave Heartbeat. So we want to continue investing our resources into making that experience better. The other two things that we noticed is that y'all would like us to focus on some smaller quality of life improvements, the things that where a little work goes a long way. That includes things like the performance updates above, but also includes like smaller things that your members or maybe you experience, or maybe just like a small subset of y'all experience. So we want to spend a little bit of this month focusing on those quality of life improvements, and we have a pretty solid list from that survey on that we think will go a long way there. And lastly, we noticed as well that while we have a ton of the all-in-one features that y'all are looking for, you are asking for a bit more guidance on when, how, and where to use those features. So we'll be working on some admin feature discovery, and that's going to be a combined effort from across the team. We'll have Siobhan's team and support helping work on some more user guides and recipes to help you succeed. But we'll also, in the product side of things, help by popping up certain features that you might not be using at stages that might be helpful to use it. For example, you've made your first sale for an offer. Maybe now it's time to set up a cancellation flow to prevent that person from churning in the future. Another example is you've started getting a certain amount of engagement in your community. Maybe it's time to build out a badge system to reward people's high engagement levels. Things like that are going to be what we're focusing on this month to make you use Heartbeat better for your business and your use case. How's that? Short enough. Awesome.
Flawless.
With that, I'll pass it off to you, Mike, for growth.
I'm going to carry that momentum forward. All right. So we have just a couple of big initiatives that we're focusing on to grow Heartbeat in the next month. Paid advertising is the big bucket. And the main thing I want to share about this is something that you guys could maybe think about using for your own business growth. We're using dynamic lists to train our ad accounts. Basically, I'm creating lists in our CRM, the ability to summarize who I care most about, who's doing really, really well on the platform, as opposed to folks who maybe came and it wasn't a great fit for. And I want to tell the ad platforms, look for people who look like these people based on their browsing patterns and history and all of that. Really, it's a great way to stretch the dollar a little bit farther, get more bang for our buck, and get more people who are already in market and the right kind of folks that Heartbeat can work really well for. So if you're in a paid acquisition strategy, think about training your ad accounts this way. The other piece we're doing is email marketing and nurture focus. Specifically, we're focusing on a post-free trial nurture. We're going to build out more content that comes after somebody is done with their trial. And also cycles for new admins. Nick talked a little bit about this, basically helping you guys activate all the features that you want that manifest your vision, but not in a way that overwhelms you, just in a way that is at the right time. The reason for both of these is that we're noticing conversion rates increase as long as we continue to nurture. And I'd be willing to bet your members and your communities would experience the same thing. We saw as far out as 90 days, what we thought originally an ad campaign brought in 15% of people that started a new community. If you wait 90 days out and you keep taking care of them with content, it goes up over 20%. So this is an example of where, again, little things you can set up that will run in the background produce compounding results over time. So it works for us. I think it'll work for you guys too. And support. Siobhan, I know you're probably deep in a conversation there, but I thought I'd give you a heads up.
Yes, and I'm realizing that I have a typo, so please ignore that I spelled improvements wrong. I promise that we won't do that in the help center. Um, but as in the coming month, we are going to continue to improve the help center and the AI bot. Get you answers when you need them. We've also just you enabled a new feature from Zendesk that will now use AI when you search in the help center. So not just the bot, but the actual search bar will give you like a little AI summary of what you're searching for. Granted, it's only as smart as the help center is, so we are still working on that. So sometimes it might not have something for you, but hopefully it will have something for everything you ask very soon. We also have more availability for those 15-minute getting unstuck calls. We are here for you to help you get started, help you get unstuck with whatever it is that you are doing to get your community launched, or if you have a new course or group or cohort coming up and you need some help getting things set up.
Awesome. And then
Amazing.
back to me for communities. Events coming up. Actually, events coming up this month. The view is like really crunched. Can't get the titles too well in here, unfortunately. Let me pop into my Notion and expand it. So building relationships that supercharge community growth is what just happened yesterday. It is technically part of this month, so it's still in this list. The May Town Hall is today. We are here live. But the one I wanted to talk about was how Dungeons and Dragons help you create confident content. And yeah, that's a fun title, right? We have one of our preferred partners, Elijah Drown, who is a podcast and creative direction specialist. He is showing us how to utilize a familiar fantasy role-playing genre to create content in a way that is fun and authentic. And so many times we get stuck overthinking or thinking too business-oriented about our content. If you want to kind of break out of that rut and have a little fun with your content creation, this is really a great session to join us for. That's at 1 p.m. on May the 21st. That's Eastern time, so you guys know what time zone the Notion's in. That's U.S. Eastern time, May 21st. So if you have an RSVP for that in the Hearth, go in there, grab an RSVP. We'll get that invite on your calendar, and then I will see you there.
Sweet. And with that, that covers everything that we did over the last month, everything that we've got coming out for you guys over the next month. And so now I just want to take some time and jump back into some of the questions that you guys asked, some of the feature requests that you guys asked as well too. Nick, if you don't mind scrolling down to yeah, perfect. Cool. So I think we might have touched on this, but Rich asked the question. So of course the offer price needs to be the same in referring to moving members from a new offer that Nick mentioned. Nick, do you want to speak on that real quick?
Yeah, good question, Rich. So it could be. If it's not the same, we will do the heavy lifting and work to keep them on that old price and make sure that price is not available on the new offer. So we can be flexible with you there, basically.
Cool. And then Dasha asked a question around workflow templates. And I think if I remember correctly, Siobhan, you're working with Dasha on answering that question in the support queue. Is that correct?
There was not a ticket about it. We were just chatting in the chat right here.
Oh, never mind. Cool. I'm assuming you have that covered?
Yes, yes.
Lovely. All right. And then Florence also brought up a use case, which was, some of my members need to pause if they lose a job or want to cut discretionary spending, or will be traveling for an extended time going into surgery. They need to leave the community altogether since they won't be using it during that time, not getting value. So I hear you. I think there's options over here. Like you can offer like pretty hefty discounts. Nick Mayhol, I don't remember if this is possible. Are you able to do like 100% discount with that coupon code? Yeah. So what you could do is basically have people go through the cancellation flow and it'll pop up a coupon code, that'll allow them to apply that coupon to, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, however they want to. And so that might be the easy flow of like, hey, when they click the cancel, they can get like a month just added in. They'll have that coupon applied for a month, and then the next month it'll pop back to the regular price, right? So there are options to do this, but what I would say is like, especially as you're growing and scaling up the business aspect of your community, being thoughtful about when and where you do create discounting that allows for you to create better retention. And also just recognizing that at some point, like, sometimes folks, it's not the right time for them to be a member, and that's okay. They can leave. When they come back into the community through Heartbeat Payments, we are automatically going to grab their information tied to their correct profile. They can always resubscribe again using the exact same community link, right? So when they go in, they'll basically say, hey, you don't have access to this community because it's paid. Click the resubscribe option and jump back in. So there are always re-entry points, but we want to make it very clear, like who are the members that are in the community and paying and who are not. We want to allow you to also build these practices into your business so that you are using the best financial practices to grow and scale this.
And yeah, the other thing I'll just kind of reiterate there is If the concern is having them create a new profile, if you have a paywall set up for your offer, then if they do cancel, then they'll still be in the community and retain their profile. They just will not have access to the community. And so if it's a case of them kind of not needing the community for a while, they can also just cancel. And then when they come back, all they need to do is click resubscribe. We'll even have their payment method saved. So they just need to click the button again, and then they'll be back in with the same profile they had and all of the same posts and chats and comments they had before.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know we did that. Right? Amazing. So I think, yeah, that hopefully will help with any friction in that process. Very nice and lovely note from Dasha. Thank you. We would be sad and disappointed if you were not on Heartbeat. So honestly, I say that jokingly, but honestly, like you guys as customers are so fun to deal with. Like this is like the thing that I've mentioned to Mayho all the time is I've never worked at a company where I enjoy spending time with customers this much. Like community builders are just some of the coolest people in the world. And so I will say like, we are really blessed to have you guys on the platform because you're fun people. You are like people that are spending your time thinking about how to bring folks together on the internet, which is just such a cool thing. So like I could literally gush for hours on how friggin' cool community builders are. So we are honestly like really excited to have you guys. So Dasha asks, I'd like to ask a question that most of our members face when entering a platform by invitation. They start to fill in the field, create an account, receive a response from the system that their email does not have authorized access. That's an interesting question. And actually what that leads me to believe, Dasha, is you might be using pre-approved invitation links, which means you have like entered in their email of these are the emails that are allowed. When a disallowed email is entered in, that's when that message comes in. So that's actually my hunch reading your message. On your sign-up pages, when you go to settings and sign-up pages, there should be 3 dots on the right of your sign-up pages. Like click that just to double check the settings and make sure that they're not pre-approved because that is my hunch of why that message is popping up. It shouldn't pop up elsewhere in the platform. And if that's not the case, like please flag it out and we'll make sure to like figure it out and resolve it for you. But I will say like in terms of like there is friction in onboarding, don't get me wrong. I don't think that is a friction point most people run into. So I want to make sure we get this solved for you. Anita mentioned with the new theme, I was shocked to see courses and resources section was only 2 across instead of the original 3 across. I really need it to be 3 across. Is there a chance to get the choice we wanted? Good question. Nick is nodding his head in a maybe way. So my answer to you is maybe. We'll take a look at it. Is the honest answer. Like we said, right? Like we want to give you a little bit more flexibility and control over like what the display looks like. So I don't know, but we'll take a look at it. 100%. All right. Nicole mentioned, I want to thank each and every one of you. Oh, you guys are so kind. You guys are really, really kind. And then Florence said, can you provide an option for admin to offer 2 price points for paid events on an event post, one for members and one for the public? Florence, we're actually thinking a lot more around event monetization. And this is like one of the things that's come up a lot is like, what's the internal price and what's the external price? So definitely something that we are looking at. I don't have an exact timeline for this for you, but I will say it's 100% something that we're looking at. Other people have brought this up too. And it's something that we are planning to build into the product. Anita asked a question, which was, I watched a YouTube video on whether a community creator suggested increasing your price every 100 members because there's more value in the community with the bigger community. Do you suggest creating an offer with a 100 limit and then creating another one? You know, that's a good question, Anita. Here's the thing is I think generally pricing is a little bit of an art. And when you are first starting out, you are not 100% sure of 1, what is the willingness to pay? And 2, what is the actual overall value that you're providing to these customers? And so what kind of happens is you pick a number that seems like realistic and doable. And then you get to like 30, 40, 50, 100 customers. And then you start like recognizing like, am I charging too little? Am I charging too much? And that's what we've found even in how we've adjusted our own prices over time. Like we've done like 3 price adjustments over the course of building Heartbeat. And each time, as much as we pull in a ton of data to figure out, hey, is this the right thing? It's also like a little bit of a test. And so that's my real answer to you, Anita, is I would kind of like test it out, right? Is generally the indicators that you can increase your value is when you were running these kind of surveys, when you were talking to folks, you were getting really, really high net promoter scores, really positive comments, and you're doing like empirical like evaluations, kind of like with the PMF test that we sent you guys. X% are very disappointed if this disappears. Oh, by the way, also we had our intern Frankie just jump on camera on Siobhan's camera if you want to see that. I would test this over time. And I think like some other indicators is like if your conversion rates are really high. So like if your conversion rate from people coming in and having a conversation with you to actually becoming a community member crosses 40-50% conversion rates, generally your prices are too low. You should be increasing your prices a little bit. So there are like empirical ways that you can tell that your prices are too low, but the honest answer, what I can tell you from our experience running a business and seeing thousands of other people do it as well, is it's a little bit of guessing, like just like a little bit. Cool. Tony asked, which was, y'all make it fun to be part of the Heartbeat fam. You guys do it too. Rich mentioned, yeah, it can be tricky if you discount membership. It can be a challenge for them to return back to full price and become a disservice to full paid members. 100% agree. Like that's what I always think about, like especially when we're doing discounting is like, okay, how does this affect this person individually? But how does this also affect the other members that are paying full price, right? So that's why it is always a little bit touchy in terms of thinking about your discounting strategy. And then Florence mentioned just keeping profiles live when people leave the community. That helps. Just wanted to put this on your radar for a future consideration. A paused or BRB badge when I pause people on the back end via Stripe, but other members don't know that member's gone for a few months or DMs go unanswered. Totally get that you have other priorities. This would just be a quality of life tweak. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, super helpful, Florence. We'll keep it on the docket, especially as we're going through like a lot of our like QL improvements over the next couple of weeks. Definitely, we're gonna keep an eye on stuff like this. Cool. And then Eric, just noticed matchups. I have 3 different types of groups of members in my community. Suppliers, distributors, SaaS providers. Would be cool if everyone could use matchups or only match with others in their group. That is totally doable. And there's actually a couple of videos that should help you out. I know there's one in our help center. I know on YouTube, Misty has actually created a really good matchups video as well too. And so I would check out one or both of those and that'll give you a little bit of clarity. But my short answer to you, Eric, is you can totally do that. All right. With that, I know we are way over time. So I want to say thank you guys so much. And then, I just saw the mention from Florence as well. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining on live. Thank you guys for being vocal and pitching all of the different ideas that you have. Please, please, please do not stop pitching us. Like, I love it. And this is one of the best parts of like building at Heartbeat is like, we don't have to do that much work to figure out what to build next. Cause usually you guys are pretty vocal and tell us what to build next, right? It makes our jobs a little bit easier. So I want to say thank you guys so much for being so vocal. Thank you for showing up live and giving an hour of your time so that we can make this a better platform for every community business moving forward. And just honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for being just such amazing Heartbeat customers. It is genuinely such a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. It's so exciting getting to see all the cool businesses you guys are building and being a small part of that. And so really, thank you from our end. And I think that's everything. Mike, anything? Oh, we got to do a heart photo. So with that, if you guys don't mind just dropping a bunch of quick heart emojis in the chat, just so we can also grab the chat in on this photo, just because we've changed stuff with Riverside, we are going to do a quick little like Heartbeat sign off. And we're going to make sure to get the chat in there as well. Mike, are you all good on taking the screenshot?
I will hit the button. Wait, I got to hit the with my elbow while I do the heart. Though.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got this. All right, we're going to do it on 3, guys. 1, 2, 3. I can't believe that worked. Oh my gosh, I actually elbow clicked it. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for showing up live. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. We'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.